The Giants Live World Deadlift Championships and Strongman Open might have been one of the most impressive things I have ever seen in my life ever. I was lucky enough to go and watch it in person, so I am very tired and I am very scrambled with excitement, with highs, with lows going on all around my brain. So apologies if this video seems a little disjointed. I haven't got all the facts right because I am running off pure adrenaline. I haven't been able to make my normal notes that I would do before the video because it was just such a great experience to go and watch live. It was great to meet some of you guys who watched the videos as well. But without further ado, let's get into the Giants Live World Deadlift Championships and Strongman Open. So kicking things off then, we have the deadlift and of course the absolute showstopper. The guy that stole the show here was Thor Julius Bjornsson, pulling 510 kilos like it was a bloody warm-up. Every time I watch the video, it seems to move easier and easier. It was just insane to see that weight go up that easily in person. It was absolutely mental. His 470 looked like there was nothing on the bar, and we don't even need to bother talking about his 420. That man is the king of deadlifts through and through, and I'm sure you've all seen it by now, but Jesus Christ, what can that man take that record to? Some other big notable performances in this event is Austin Andrade finally getting 470 under his belt solidly without falling over backwards, although he did fall over forwards this time. Austin looked really, really strong on the deadlift, and just a couple of weeks after Smo as well. If that man comes into one of these competitions fresh, he can pull something massive. Adam Bishop also pulling 470 as well, a huge PB for Adam. Looked like he was really enjoying himself out there on the deadlift. My mate Paddy Haynes pulling £1,000, which was absolutely phenomenal for Paddy. I went and trained with him a few weeks before this competition. He said he'd be very happy with the 440, and £1,000 seemed just out of reach. Well, he proved himself wrong. He proved all of us wrong. He absolutely smashed it. Gav Bilton pulled a solid new Welsh record at 440 kilos. He did awesome, and Gav looked really good this evening. He looked absolutely back in shape. He looked like he was enjoying it, and it was really good to see Gav back and setting a new Welsh record. The new Mexican star Raul Flores pulling 480 to the knees, which is an absolutely immense feat of strength after just pulling 480 a couple weeks ago. That man is the real deal, and we will see a lot more of him in the future, I'm sure. It was really impressive to see him come in and do that after just such short notice, as well as Rauno Hainler, after being ill in the hospital last week, coming and getting 480 to the knees is again an absolutely immense feat. Fresh Rauno, I would have had no doubt that that weight is going up, maybe even more. It's a shame Rauno seems to have this bad luck going forward with the deadlift championships, but always good to see him pull. But we had some controversy with my pick to win the show, Evan Singleton. He got the 420 very, very easily, but Magnus gave him a weird hand signal where he sort of went like that to say lock it out more, but obviously the downward motion made Evan think that it was a down command. He put it down. He went to try and re-pull it a couple times and unfortunately pulled his hamstring, having to pull out the show. Now, I think at the time I was going, that is absolute bollocks. If you see a hand go like that, you're going to drop it. When you're doing a max deadlift, you can't barely see what's in front of you. So if you see any movement in that hand, it is not going to be good enough to say that it wasn't good lift. Obviously, they gave him the lift in the end, which is the utmost correct decision and the way to fix it. But you've got to feel for Evan. That is some really, really hard luck. And then we had the guys like Matt Ragg, Bryce Johnson, Eddie Williams, all being super, super solid and consistent throughout this show. And I have to say, these guys once again surprised me in this competition. I say it all the time about Eddie Williams. He is just getting better and better and better and better. Bryce Johnson just coming off 5th place at Smo, doing absolutely amazingly at this competition. Giants Live seems to really suit him, and I hope we see him at a lot more. And Matt Ragg as well, after a few down performances, coming back in shape for this competition was really, really good to see. It was really refreshing to see a very, very different podium at the end of this competition. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's get into the other events. Now, with Farmers Walk, the man to talk about here is Eddie Williams. Absolutely flew down this course. And I think the Farmers could do with being a touch heavier in this competition. I could tell why they went with a fairly light set of Farmers, obviously being right after the deadlift. But it did end up being a pretty good event. I would have loved to have seen a heavier set of Farmers. Maybe not much heavier, like 175 maybe per hand would be pretty decent. Something like that, but one where people can't sprint with it. It's more of a grueling task to get it over the end. But overall, a really decent event. I always really enjoy Farmers. Then we had the sandbag steeplechase. This one started killing some people off. Both Eddie Williams and Austin Andrade really struggled with that last bag. Obviously, they're both very beaten up after Smo, and the sandbag steeplechase is a very, very punishing event. This one was, of course, won by Paddy Haynes. He is just phenomenal at this type of event. 4 seconds quicker, I believe, than second place. And then again, Matt Ragg, Bryce Johnson, obviously Thor, all doing very, very well on this event. And this is where we started to see a little bit of separation in the top end from Thor, Matt Ragg, from the leading pack a bit. But then we went into the front hold. And with the front hold, we had a gaggle of about 5 to 6 guys all around the 35 to 39 second mark, all of them right around that sort of area. And then we had one man way out in front with Thor at 51 seconds, almost passing out after the front hold, which was unexpected to say the least, but it shows he was going to the wire. And then we had Bryce Johnson in second place with, I believe, about 43 seconds, something like that. Again, a really, really good performance from Bryce, always there or thereabouts on every single event in this competition. Then our second to last event was the Viking press. And if you had told me coming into this competition that Paddy Haynes would tie with Austin Andrade and Luke Stoltman on a Viking press, I would have laughed in your face. Paddy did absolutely fantastically at this event, getting 10 reps. Viking press seems to be a very good overhead for him. We had Thor do very well on this event as well, but we had Bryce Johnson and, in fact, Gav Bilton doing phenomenally on this event, out in front of the leading pack, which was very, very good news for Bryce Johnson, because we had a gaggle of people tying at 10 reps. Bryce was able to pull ahead, take the event win, and get a good amount of points over some of these other guys coming in. Eddie Williams as well did really, really well on this event. I always love seeing a Viking press. I know it's not some people's cup of tea, but I always love it for mixing up the points. And again, I have to say, Gav did really, really well here. And then our final event was the power stairs. And this one, again, was a really, really good finisher. Paddy did fantastically well on this event. Adam Bishop absolutely flew up these stairs. Thor did what he needed to do to win this competition. Thor was just super impressive all night. You have to remember, the man just pulled 510 kilograms at the start of this competition for the first event, and he was still competitive right up until the end, taking event wins, taking top 3 in events, getting points, and winning the overall competition by some margin. Thor did absolutely mind-blowingly well at this competition. It was one of the most impressive things I have ever seen in Strongman, full stop. It showed that Thor is truly one of the greatest of all time when it comes to Strongman. It was a privilege and a pleasure to watch him in action in person this weekend. And in second place, we had Bryce Johnson, a man who is always flying under the radar of people's predictions. I think that is a name we're going to be seeing a lot more of in the coming years. He is super consistent across the board, super strong. That man is just built to do strongman, and we will see him get better and better and improve every single competition. He hasn't had a bad run. 5th at the Strongest Man on Earth, 2nd at this Giants Live. He's qualified for next year's World's Strongest Man. That is what we want to see. And then in 3rd place, we had Matt Ragg. Again, a man who flew under my radar a bit in the predictions, because he had a few down performances. But Matt Rag looked really, really solid at this competition. I'm very excited to see a full form Matt Rag back in the game. And overall, just a fantastic competition. The only prediction that I got right out of my entire predictions video was Paddy Haynes in fourth. That is the only prediction that I got correct. Obviously, Evan Singleton having some pretty bad luck, but having Bryce Johnson, Matt Rag up there, they weren't in my wheelhouse, to be honest. They were in my leading pack that were battling for third, maybe, but not on the podium. Like, fair play to those guys. They did absolutely fantastically, and I will not be underestimating them again. But overall, what an absolutely fantastic show. A personal highlight of the show for me was sitting in the stands, looking down and seeing my coach and good friend, Big Loz, going to sit down on a chair and completely flattening it and falling over. That was one of the highlights of the show, and I was very glad that I caught it because Neil picked it up and brought it to the attention of the crowd after it had happened, whereas I got to see it unfold as it did happen. So shout out Lars, he took it like a champ. But overall, fantastic weekend. I will absolutely be going back to Giants Live in Birmingham and potentially some other Giants Live as well. It was super nice to meet some of you guys who watch the videos. Always welcome to come and say hello as well. It's absolutely fantastic. I love talking strongman. I love strongman. It was just a great evening, and to witness that feat of strength from Thor in person was just immense. So thank you all so much for watching. I've been Toby. I will see you in the next video where hopefully we're talking more pro strongman. Go down below, click like on the video and subscribe because this is the channel where we waffle about strongman. But anyway, thank you all for watching once again, and I will see you in the next video.